Okay, friends, I'm back again. I'll do another little quick video in the shop on the axe restoration project. So if you're following along, you've probably seen me working on this Boy Scouts of America Scout Axe. This is technically, I'm calling project number 1. It's where I started. And as sort of an experiment, something I'd heard of before was you could remove rust from metal with white vinegar, distilled white vinegar. And I don't know what it was exactly, but I guess we just had some distilled white vinegar. My wife was talking to me about it, I don't know. And I just decided, you know, let's do this. Let's do it right now and see if it works. It was an experiment. This axe was so rusty and crusty, it was horrible. So if you're on my Instagram following me there, you can go look through. You'll see I documented the whole process for this axe head there in still photos. And I decided I would like to sort of video the process so you can kind of see what's going on. This section is going to be really boring, but I'm going to start on project number 2. Even though I'm not done with project number 1 yet, this part of project number 2 doesn't take any real serious effort. The vinegar bath is just that. It's nothing fancy. I'm going to put the head in here. I'm going to use vinegar in here, cover it up with vinegar, and let it sit for hours. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to look at it, and we'll just kind of keep examining it from there. So we'll go ahead and start right now with the new axe head, and then probably the next video here we'll be back on project number 1. In between, I need to get a vise mounted up to my table here, and my dad's going to help me with that, but he wasn't available to do that today, so we're hoping to do that tomorrow. And once I've got that mounted up and ready to go, I'll be able to mount this axe in the vise, which is really going to help me work on this handle. So the first things here that I need to do with this one are, you know, I'm going to get into that in the other video. I don't want to blather on about this one. We're going to go through it later. So we will be coming back to this one. I'm going to be finishing this one first. This one's going to be very easy, relatively speaking, from my prediction anyway. I haven't done this before. But I think this one's going to go pretty simple, and we're going to have a really great result with it. And having the vise set up, woodworker's vise, is really going to help us, or help me keep it even and make it easier, especially on my back, to work on it. So we'll get to that. But since this other part of project 2 takes no real effort, and because it takes a lot of time in the vinegar bath, I'm probably going to have it going for, I mean, it'll be 24 hours or more. So we're going to go ahead and start that now. So I've got a little tin foil tray here. I think this is going to work okay. I needed something big enough to fit the axe head, and we had these. So we're using one. It's cheap and disposable. I'm not going to ruin it having a bunch of rusty, crusty junk in there. The axe head we're working with today is a Japanese style hatchet. They made them, I guess, in a couple different sizes. And from what I understand, although I can't see it here, I'm curious to see once it's cleaned up a little bit if it'll be more visible. But from what I understand, they're sort of like a samurai sword. There is a high carbon steel layered in with a more low carbon steel or iron around it, and it's welded together. So I feel like I can kind of see where this steel core might be running right through the center here, and that gives it a nice hard sharp edge that's easy to maintain, while the rest of it, the blunt part, doesn't need that, you know. And I don't know if there's maybe some benefits to that. These are also designed to be a hammer pawl on the back for work, you know, hammering, whatever. This one is very cracked. It's cracked all the way through. I don't think it's going to too much hinder the axe for basic chopping, and I don't, like I've talked about, I have back issues, ankylosing spondylitis, fibromyalgia. I've got problems physically just getting out and doing things, so I'm not going to be chopping down a lot of trees with this axe or really using it very much at all. So I think it's going to be okay. If it was going to be a hard use axe, I would not be okay with this huge crack, but this is more of a fun project just to go through as a second project in restoring axes. A really interesting design that you don't see very often. Very unique to Japan, and Bulgaria actually also had some similar shape axe heads from what I had seen, but not a very common design. And I think it'll just be a really cool axe, and ultimately long-term it may just hang up in my office or something as a sort of inspiration art piece more than a functional tool. So I'm okay with the crack. If I knew a good blacksmith or amateur blacksmith, I might get them to try to weld that for me, but I can't do that. I don't have the tools. I don't have the probably physical requirements, but that's okay. I think this is going to work okay for me, and we could always do that later. So here you can see, hopefully this is focusing. Let me see if I can get around here and see if it's focusing. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we're in focus. This is the axe the way it came. It is not super crusty, but it is very red, brown, rusty all over. And it should be, you know, metal, just like that Boy Scout axe. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the vinegar bath, and we're going to get that started. And then I think I'm going to just upload this video, nice, short, and sweet, and get that going now, rather than waiting and editing it all together. We'll just do it in multiple parts for now. I don't want to waste a bunch of time with learning the editing software. So I'm just going to set it in there. I'm going to grab my all-natural distilled white vinegar, and I guess we buy this, my wife says, at Costco. It's huge, and it's like $2. So she said, go ahead, fill this whole thing up. It doesn't matter. It's not that expensive. We already got more. So hopefully I have enough to fill it. If not, I have another jug here. But we're just going to go ahead and cover that axe. And it's going to be really close here on whether that actually covers the top without spilling out. Oh boy. I am millimeters from the top of the container and the top of the axe. I really don't want this to spill out all over my table. You know, it's mostly covered. Just this little bit of a corner here is sticking out. I think that's going to be okay. I'm probably going to flip this over a couple times over the next 24 hours or so as I pull it out and scrub it down and all that. So shouldn't take much scrubbing, but we'll let this get to work. Basically how this goes, unfortunately I don't have the ability to time-lapse this for you, but how this goes basically here is the vinegar, the distilled white vinegar, reacts with it's got a light acid in it, reacts with the rust. It's going to start to form little bubbles all over the surface. It looks like carbonated Sprite. And that's how you know it's working. You can see it working. And it's just going to start to break down that rust. And then once that rust is broken down, we'll be able to just wipe it off with paper towels. So really, really easy to do. Very low labor involved there. So we'll let this go, and probably we'll be back. let's see, I can't check what time it is because I'm using my phone to video. But I'm going to be back in about 6 hours, and I'll try and film that. Lighting's going to be different. The camera, I'll move closer, let you see the bubbles. We'll pull it out, we'll wipe it down, kind of check the progress on it. It's hard to really tell how much progress you've made unless you really look at the photos because it's so gradual. But over the next 24 hours with a little bit of light wiping, maybe a little bit of scrubbing with like a scrub pad you would use on a dish in the kitchen, you get this. So the pitting is still there, but the metal is smooth. I did oil this down because once you've removed all that rust, you do get with the vinegar a little bit of a patina, which is kind of darkening of that metal, and it's more resistant to rust. But definitely you want to oil this down, especially if you're in a wetter environment. Here in Colorado Springs, we're not very humid at all. So this is going to hold up really well, and I'll just oil this occasionally. And then of course I'll be oiling the wood as well. So we'll go through all that later. But here's the part you missed on this one. We're doing now on the second project, kind of in the middle of things. But project number 2, the Japanese Hatchet, we got that going here. And then we're going to be mounting it eventually on this handle, which is quite a bit large for that size axe head. But the challenge I have is I've got a very square eye, and I need a large handle to cut that square out and have it fit okay. So this one is just large enough that if I square it up, I should be able to fit that axe head on here, and then we'll trim this all down gradually with the file, or I might get my hands on a draw knife or plane of some kind, and that would really speed up the process of thinning this down. And I might also cut this short and sort of shape this fawn's foot up here rather than down here. But we'll see. We'll kind of take it as we go. And who knows, if I get the tools and I find some Tennessee hickory or something that I could just build a handle out of from scratch, I might jump into that. I might try that and save this for maybe a Hudson Bay head that would be more suited for this type of handle. So I don't know. This is an extra I had. I bought this online originally for the Boy Scout Axe, and obviously it's way too large for that. But it was hard to tell online. So I could have returned it. I was planning to return it. Then I had so much fun doing this project that my wife kind of said, you know, this is something you enjoy. It's getting you up and moving around. It's getting you out in the shop, and it improves my mood, you know, just being involved doing something. So she said, you know, it wasn't that expensive. Just keep it, and we'll look at yard sales and find another head to put on it. So we had hoped to find a head for project number 2 with this handle, and then while I was looking around, I looked on eBay. I saw this thing, and the Axe Junkies group, of only a couple people recognize this thing. It seems to be very rare here in the US. This one was already in the US. I didn't have to import it from Japan, which brought the cost down considerably. It just came from some guy in Oregon. So really cool, unique axe head to do a project with. And so I pulled the trigger on it and just went for it. And we went ahead and made that project number 2. So this might be part of project number 2, or it might be project number 3. Who knows? This is going to be a while yet before we get to this. I'm sure I'm going to take a lot of time working on the Boy Scout Axe. Even though the actual work will be short periods of time, because I can only do so much at a time, it's going to take a long time. It's going to be spread out over a long time. So I wouldn't expect that we're really going to get to this until after June. And by then I might have a Hudson Bay head that just really would work much better on this, and we might skip to that, or maybe I'll find the materials to make a handle for this and do that all from scratch. I don't know, we'll see. If you would be interested in maybe donating a handle for this, if you have the wood or a start of a handle that would work really well for this, I'd be open to that too. Or if you want to sell it to me, if you've got one you want to sell, if you're in the Axe Junkies group on Facebook, then just reach out to me, message me. You'll see some posts about it there, and let me know if you've got something that you think would fit better and you want to send it my way, and we can work out a price. My budget is very restricted though, so I can't pay too much, but if you've got something you're not going to use and you want to just get rid of it or help me out, I'd sure appreciate it, and we can do that. And I'd love to, give you a shout out in the video if you'd like that. If you'd rather I didn't mention you by name, that's fine too. So we can figure that out. But and if you're into axes, definitely go check out Axe Junkies on Facebook. Really cool group of guys. There's guys in there that are forging axes by hand. There's guys that are restoring axes, using axes, collecting axes. Pretty much, if you just love axes, if you are the guy that goes in the hardware store and you just got to pick up a hatchet when you see it and you can't help yourself, that's the group for you. So definitely pop over there, join up if that sounds like you, and you can follow my progress there and get a lot of help if you're doing your own projects, restoring axes and that type of thing. So yeah, that's it. Let's go ahead and get this uploaded, and then I'll be back in 6 hours, maybe it'll be more like 12 hours. I don't know. We'll see. If I come out here and it doesn't really look like it's made a lot of progress, I'll just wait longer so that we can really see that change happening. But I won't be doing anything to this axe. I'm not going to touch it at all off camera. So that way you can really see how we're making progress, and I'll let you know how long it's been and all of that as we go. So there we go. We've got axe project number 2, the Japanese Hatchet, started, and that's the end of the video here. Please, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're interested in things like this, or if you're interested in artwork. I'm a designer, graphic designer, and I do some artwork as I'm able, and I stream most of that through Twitch, and I upload them to YouTube after. So you probably noticed there's some drawings in my playlist there, and I'll get that stuff all organized into playlists sometime real soon here, since I've started to add more content. So you've got that content there. It's kind of chill. I usually play some music. I talk through working on artwork and kind of the design process and my philosophy behind how I do my artwork, how I do my designs, and how to use the tools that I use, Adobe Creative Cloud tools, as well as Autodesk Sketchbook. So we go through that, and then out here in the shop we'll be going through these axes, just doing restorations on axes, maybe some other old tools, I don't know, and doing some Kydex sheaths as well. That's why I have the oven out here. I do Kydex work in the shop here, and I'm new to all of it. Design I've been doing for a long time. Drawing I've been doing a long time. I did spend a little time at the Art Institute, about a semester, and I took some art classes here and there, some Adobe classes here and there, mostly self-taught, but I've been doing artwork for as long as I can remember. But this, woodworking, restoring the axes, doing the Kydex, That's just all stuff I wanted to learn, and I thought it looked like it was something approachable that I could maybe do, and I'm learning as I go. So those are kind of what I would call more of a learn along experience. And then the artwork stuff is sort of learn along and sort of instructional, and sort of just chill. So it's something you can watch when you're, tired at the end of the night, you're not really ready to go to sleep, but maybe you just want to, veg out. And if you're into that artwork, then, join me there and watch the videos, or, follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/5012design. And you can see when I'm about to go live on Twitch, and you can watch live and talk with me while I'm doing it. So I do have a little chat that pops up in Twitch, and if you're in there live and you've got questions, fire them at me, and I'd be happy to answer those as we go. So I think that covers everything for this video. Yeah, I think that's it. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for hitting that like button if you enjoyed the video. And definitely, leave me a comment here on YouTube if you like that platform. I do try to keep up with those comments for a couple days after a video. If not, if it's later, if you're watching this much later, definitely go to my Facebook page, 5012 Design, and leave a comment there. You'll find all of these videos are posted over there, and you can leave a comment, and I get notifications for those so I can respond to you more immediately. So that's probably the best way to reach me. So I'm Mike, and my company / channel is 5012 Design, and you can find me on Twitch at Uncle Mike 5012. Uncle is spelled with a K, not a C. All one word, 5012, Uncle Mike 5012. That's also my Instagram, where you can see the shots of the Boy Scout axe when I did the first vinegar bath, kind of as an experiment, getting this started. So I think that covers everything. I hope that was informative. Not a lot going on here. We're just watching an axe sit in the bath for hours. So I'm going to cut the video, and then we'll be back at some time later, 6 or 12 hours or so, somewhere in there. I'll let you know. Thanks. Have a great day.